Hello, Catamounts. My name is Alexander Hoffman, and this is Chats with Cats presented by WeTV. In this series, we will be interviewing some of our amazing student athletes here at Western Carolina University. Today, we have Blake Whitmore of our football team. How are you, Blake?
Good.
So we'll go ahead and get right started into this. Go ahead and please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for the football team.
My name is Blake Whitmore. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, and I've been the center for the football team for the past 4 years.
Perfect. So if you don't mind, could you share a memorable moment from your athletics career at Western?
The most memorable moment I've had would be getting on scholarship. When I first got here, I was a walk-on for 2 years. Then I started to mix in. Then once I started to play, I was grateful enough to get put on full scholarship.
Yeah, that's definitely something I could see being very memorable. Very helpful too. What keeps you motivated during the most intense parts of the football season?
I would say just my why and just my competitiveness. There's some days where I'm not feeling it, but then once I get in a competitive environment, kind of stirs me and keeps me going.
Yeah, that can definitely be helpful for sure. And one thing that we kind of talk about in all of our interviews is the family aspect that's kind of in all of our athletics, and it's kind of throughout the college too, but especially in all of our different athletics teams. So I kind of wanted to hear your perspective on that with the football team.
I've met people that I'm going to know for the rest of my life. Some of my closest friends, because you spend quite literally every single day with them, and you start to build some very, very close relationships.
Yeah, and that's something that has kind of carried and been a central theme of the interviews too, because all of you guys kind of connect on a level that I don't think the bigger schools get to. That's something that I think we kind of see in the games too. But moving from the more athletics side to the student side, because these interviews are a lot more than just you as a student athlete, it's also you as a student. So what are you studying and what made you choose that major?
I'm doing integrated health science and psychology. I've already finished my integrated health science degree, and then now I'm just doing psychology, and that's leading up to PT school. It's going to be happening in a few years. And the reason I've kind of got into that is I've always been interested in the sciences and the human body and how it develops and changes. And I've had a few injuries with football, and just going to PT, and really the first time I went to PT, I walked in and kind of realized this is what I want to do. Because I wasn't really sure, athletic training, trainer, PT, wasn't sure. But after that first time going to PT, I'm like, I can see myself doing this.
Yeah, and that personal connection to the major, I think, is something really special too. That I do see a good number of athletes kind of head in that direction, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
And I've also used a lot of what I've learned with recovery, nutrition, and all that. It's helped me throughout my career.
It's good to be able to know that you're applying everything and not just there to be in class. But how do you manage your time between academics and athletics?
You just got to be efficient with your time. You can't really waste time scrolling your phone and all that when we don't, especially in season, you don't have a lot of free time. And then when you do, that has to be for school or anything else you have to take care of. You just got to be efficient.
And I know for health science majors specifically, that can be pretty intensive. So how do you think that affects you specifically with football and time management?
Just had to be a lot more efficient. So there's been a lot of late nights. Sleep has been sacrificed a few times, but you just can't waste time.
How it goes. What are some challenges you face as a student athlete other than just that time management, and how do you overcome those?
I would say one of the biggest challenges an athlete faces is injury, because your sport is such a big part of your identity. It's who you are through high school and in college, and then in a split second you can lose it and it's gone. And what helped me get through that is realizing that your role has changed in the program, whatever sport it is. You're no longer the center, the quarterback, the catcher, first baseman, etc. Your role now is therapy and to get back to your team. And if you just sit there and think, oh, I should be out there, I wish I was out there right now, it's just going to eat you up. It's just going to destroy you mentally. An injury is more mental than physical, I believe, because you've been working so hard towards one goal, and then just bad luck prevents it in a split second. And just know that your role in the program has changed, and just hyper-focus on whatever you're doing that day.
Yeah, that's definitely a unique perspective on that I don't think we've really gotten in terms of the injury. But yeah, that's really interesting. How would you say that being a student athlete has shaped your college experience overall?
Oh, it's completely changed it. I'll say it keeps me busy, keeps me focused, keeps me out of trouble. I don't really have time or to really do anything I'm not supposed to because I've always had practice or workouts or something or a game. It just helps really keep me focused.
Staying busy is very helpful and something that I think also kind of comes across with a lot of our student athletes wanting to stay busy. So moving on from that to our lightning rounds, just some short little questions with some short little answers from you. So what is your favorite class at Western so far?
I'll say either an anatomy class or sensory and perception.
What is sensory and perception?
Your senses.
Oh, okay.
Sight, vision, taste, and all that, feel, all that stuff.
I guess that should have been pretty obvious to me, but here I am, a business major. So, do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions?
Pre-game, I get dressed the exact same way. Same cleat, same sock, same brace, shoulder pad, like it's all the same order. And then I always get taped 40 minutes before I have to go out for warm-ups. Just kind of keep the same schedule.
Are there any team-wide like rituals or superstitions?
No, not really.
Interesting. Okay. And then do you have a favorite sports team outside of your own?
I've always been a Panthers fan. Just being in North Carolina, my parents used to live in Charlotte, and my entire family went to ECU, so I'm also a fan there.
Shout out to the Panthers. Final lightning round question. What is your favorite post-game meal?
My favorite post-game meal is definitely El Pat.
Okay.
It's favorite place to go for home games.
I think that's favorite place for a lot of people to go after the games, after watching them too.
Yeah.
Moving on to kind of tie everything together, final question. What is the best advice you've ever received as a student athlete, and kind of in turn, what advice would you like to give to incoming student athletes?
Best advice I've ever received, my coach once told me to always take care of everything outside of the field, outside of sport, whether that's athletically, socially, with your family. Just take care of that, so then you can truly enjoy and focus on your sport and what you're doing. Because if you're practicing or working out and you have an assignment that's nagging you, your grades are bad, and you have to deal with study hall and all that, it kind of pulls away from the enjoyment of the sport. It can get really miserable if on the field and off the field you always have something to worry about. And the best advice I would give to a student athlete coming in would be to just control what you can control. And specifically with the injuries, you can't go back. You can't control that. You're injured. You just got to accept it. You got to understand that your role on the team has changed. You're no longer your position or whatever you've been doing. Your role is to get back. And your only goal is to get back with your team.
Really good advice. Thank you, Blake. And that is also it for the interview. Thank you again, Blake, for being in the studio today. It was a pleasure. We'll see you next time, and go Cats.